I've been talking to a lot of companies. Recently, I talked to some of the largest advertisers like LVMH and Unilever and P&G and others. And you ask them as to what is your mobile marketing strategy, and everybody says we are figuring it out. So they're all dipping their toes in it. They also all realize that the world is moving towards mobile. Certainly, the millennials are spending most of their time on mobile devices. If you go to a place like China, everybody's on WeChat and not on television. And then the question becomes, how do you make people engage with your brands? Every brand wants to engage with the consumer. The challenge is no consumer wants to engage with every brand. So it's just an asymmetric kind of a story going on.
By the way, this point about owning the consumer, I think, goes beyond just apps, obviously, but I think it's a skill set that most companies are still, even ones that are very, very good at it, are still developing, again, because of the data being so disparate, at least with the clients who I've worked with, some very, very big Fortune 500 companies, which is, how do you make sure that every touch point, so whether it's the app, the physical touch point in a store, a retail location, somebody calls a customer service phone number, somebody talks to, sees you on social media, how do you take every single place where any consumer could experience the brand and find a way to engage them with permission and with value exchange that's worthwhile, so that you have the right to talk to them again, and how do you pull them closer and closer in? And I think it has mildly interesting implications, again, for the media industry and how it could be disrupted, because if brands do a better job of owning their own customer data, in theory, this idea that I rent the media company's audience and hope to borrow them for a little while to sell them products starts to go away. So the core competency of a media company, which is aggregating eyeballs with some compelling content, starts to become less valuable to me because I can own my own customer. And I think over time, that becomes the interesting play for brands and marketers.
I'm a very strong believer that there has to be a compelling reason for consumers. So we can push whatever we want to push, but if the product is not good, nothing is going to work.
How do you take geographic location, so that while we're all using our phones wherever we are, and when you download that app and it casually asks you, can we use your location, have you ever gone back to your privacy settings to actually see how many apps are monitoring your location? If you haven't, just go check. Look at the list. It's the games, it's the local news station that you signed up for, it's every single app, and they're selling that data.
So what Weather Channel has done is, rather than thinking about advertising alone, and they're doing advertising, but rather than thinking of advertising alone, they started saying, can I connect the weather information with the purchase behavior of products? And what their research showed is people buy products based on the weather. Weather affects our mood. And I'm not talking about if it's raining, you buy an umbrella. They even have a correlation which says, if there is certain kind of weather, it's a cold and rainy day in Chicago, maybe you'll buy raspberries rather than strawberries. And they did find that actually certain kind of shampoo sells better in a hot, humid weather versus a hot and dry weather. And P&G tested that, and they found their Pantene shampoo sales went up 28% once they correlate with the weather forecast. I think it's a great change in business model, leveraging the mobile usage. Because for weather, you need to give me the local information. Otherwise, weather is useless unless you tell me your location.
But the question that I have, and I would love to see a study done, which is, if the idea is that I'm passing by McDonald's and McDonald's can send me an ad, why don't they put an ad in the window? Because I'm right there. Or put a guy in front of it, that's probably cheaper, right?
The other challenge in this whole online, offline area is, for majority of the products, people search online or on mobile device or desktop, but they actually do purchase offline for cosmetics, for clothing, for cars, for soaps and detergents and everything else. I may know everything that you're doing in the online channel or the mobile channel, but can I connect those dots with when you, as a consumer, go to the offline channel? I think that's where the biggest challenge going forward is.